What's in your pants belongs only to you. Your pants cover up your private parts. Your private parts belong only to you. If someone asks to see them, tell them no. What's in your pants belongs only to you. Your pants cover up your private parts. Your private parts belong only to you. If someone asks to see them, tell them no.
Tell them no.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Eshana, and as Jem mentioned, I'm a psychosexual somatics coach based here in Forest Row. I'm also a relationships and sex educator for young people. And in this talk, I'm going to talk about how I've built a culture of consent for children, teenagers, and young adults. And you're an audience of adults. So it might be that you're a parent, or you might work with young people. You might be a single person, you might be married. Whoever you are, consent is relevant to everyone in this room. So I'm looking forward to sharing some golden nuggets with you. So starting with children, the song that I just sang was quite brilliantly created by the children's charity, the NSPCC. Pantosaurus is the name of the campaign, and it's aimed at children aged 4 to 8 years old to raise awareness of consent in a simple and age-appropriate way. I'm very much of the belief that prevention is much better than me having to work with a young person because something has gone wrong. There's some really great resources on the NSPCC website. I really recommend you check it out. There's a really cool video, but it's like a proper earworm. I've had that song in my head. Wake up singing it, and I'm in the shower singing it. It's a real earworm. But that's great, because children will remember it, right? So the Pantosaurus campaign uses the acronym PANTS as a way of teaching children how to say no, telling them about body boundaries, encouraging them to identify a trusted adult in their life that they can talk to if they're worried about anything. And actually, if you look at the acronym, this is relevant to everyone as well. This is not just about children. So as an extension of this, I've also done other creative work with young people. So this book, Body Boundaries Make Me Stronger. And this is very much talking about unwanted touch, so like tickling or hair touching, or being made to hug Auntie Ethel when they don't want to, or even having their photo displayed on social media. Like in an ideal world, there would be some sort of consent conversation around all of those things. Other things I've done with children, whipped out the Play-Doh and created little consent warriors and inspired them to create their own story based on their consent warrior, to really bring these themes alive and make it relevant to their life. Oh yeah, not forgetting the colourful pants that you can colour in. Oh yeah, and I'll leave you with this quote. Consent culture should start with children. I believe one of the biggest mistakes we make as parents is teaching children to ignore their personal boundaries. Moving on to teenagers. So last year I worked with a group of Year 10 boys, and my brief was to work around the themes of toxic masculinity and sexual harassment. Big themes. So when building a culture of consent for teenage boys, it isn't about making them the villain, it isn't about shaming them or even making them the guilty party. It's about connecting with them, recognising their own vulnerability of what it means to be a young man, understanding the pressures put on them emotionally, physically, socially and sexually, and using that as the starting point. And when the groundwork has been done, having conversations about healthy relationships, what consent means, and then exploring sexual harassment. And one of the exercises that I did with the young people around consent, I very excitedly weaved in some Jan Day wisdom. So for people that don't know who Jan Day is, She's a renowned Tantra teacher. I did her training 5 years ago. So I had 10 different balloons, all with questions on. Oh, where's my scissors? There. All with questions on, and inside was the answer. And the Jando question is, what are the 3 yeses? So I'm gonna pop the balloon. Woo! And the answer's at home in my room. I've got to put it in there. So what are the 3 yeses? Before you even think about having sex, what does your head say? What does your heart and your body say? What does your genitals say? Before you even think about having sex, what does their head say? What does their heart and body say? What do their genitals say? So let's just explore that a little bit deeper. By getting them to raise awareness to their thought patterns, it's validating their reality. Is it a yes? Is it a no? Maybe I'm unsure. And I'm encouraging communication for them to express how they're feeling to the other person. And inviting in a dialogue. How do you feel? How are you feeling? Is it a yes? Is it a no? Are you unsure? When I ask the question, what does your heart say? I'm really introducing a new language to them, and it's the language of the heart. So I'm really modelling being heart-led, whilst also sensitively acknowledging that there's that heart-sex connection. All whilst inviting them to tune into their bodily experience. How is your body? Are you quite relaxed and open? Are you rigid? Is your breath really shallow and high up in your chest, or is it deep in your belly? All really important bits of information which are indicating how they are experiencing a yes or a no, or I'm not sure in their body. So not just getting them to tune into their body, I'm encouraging them to see how they are experiencing the other person. How is their body? Are you picking up on a no? Are you sensing some uncertainty? And then finally, what are my genitals communicating? Whoa, there's such thing as cock intelligence. I could see that their mind was blown, but they totally got it. Yes, I have permission to connect to my genitals, and they hold really wise information about where my boundaries are. And the same applies for people with a vulva. And just because I'm erect, that doesn't mean I want to have sex. So, what are the 3 yeses? Before you even think about having sex, what does your head say? What does your heart and body say? What do your genitals say? And if there aren't 3 yeses, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you in terms of having this connection with this person? And then finally, building a culture of consent for young adults. This is a proud mum moment for sure. This is me and my dear friend and colleague Rupert Allison at Cambridge University. So Cambridge contacted Rupert to ask him to deliver some consent workshops for the freshers at Fitzwilliam College, and he created this whole body of work and invited me along to support him. And we came up with the tagline, building a culture of consent for everyone, every day, which emphasises that consent isn't just about sex, it's about everyday life. So Rupert and I shared a few different models of consent, including the Wheel of Betty Martin's Wheel of Consent, which asks the question, who is it for? We shared the Fry's model of consent and also unpacked the difference between enthusiastic consent and authentic consent. There's so much to consent, like way more than I even realised. This whole process was like quite a big learning for me as well. And we had really good feedback from what the students learned. So one person said that consent is dynamic and evolving. And that's true, it's not fixed. It's a conversation. It's two people finding the sweet spot, whether that's choosing where to go for lunch, deciding whether or not to post something on social media, or choosing what kind of touch they want to experience. The second bit of feedback totally lit me up. It's okay to pause. I've been on many a tantra workshop where people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s are only just learning that it's okay to pause, to slow down and be present. And so to have a 19-year-old say that they know now to say pause just totally blows my heart wide open. Imagine the ripples that that's going to have, this small but powerful word will have on this person's intimate but also wider social life. And then finally, consent leads to pleasure. Woo! I was super chuffed when I read that on the feedback form. This person really got that consent creates safety. It's a container which can lead to a more pleasurable life. So that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour on all of the different ways that I've been building a culture of consent for different age groups. So I've been using song, storytelling, modelling, games, embodiment, attunement, a big serving of heart and sex positivity. So regardless of if you're a child, if you're a teenager, if you're a young adult, a parent, an adult in your prime, an old person, consent is relevant for everyone, every day. Thank you.